should get help, but I don't even know what I need. They keep saying speak your truth, and at the same time say they don't believe. Man, excuse me while I get into my feelings for a second. Usually I keep it in, but today I gotta tell it. Not that anybody gives a fuck anyway, but everybody talking shit probably sucks anyway.
What up, though, y'all? Happy Friday. It is another week with Ivy Nicole, y'all, and this is She Evolves. If you are just tapping in, I want you to check me out across all social media platforms. It is Ivy Nicole, IvyNICH. Y'all, don't forget that HOLE. And if that's too confusing, check out She Evolves LLC.com, and you can follow me across all social media platforms. Today I am live. I am live every Friday at 6 o'clock, unless something's going on. Last week I was not live. But anywho, I am live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Seems like it's something else. No, that's it. I think that's all I'm live on. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, y'all. So we want to dive into a very taboo type of conversation. I could get all clinical with y'all, but I don't feel like it. That's not the route that we're going on today. I want to know, how is the mental health system failing Black women and the LGBTQ community? So today I have D Woods as my special guest. They are no stranger to She Evolves. So just kind of tap in, chime in. For those who don't know you, who is D Woods?
Well, I'm Dee. I'm a intersectional activist and organizer here in Detroit. I focus my fight mainly on the LGBTQ community, heavy on the trans community, and mainly Black women too. The majority of my work, like I said, I focus on Black women, mainly maternal health, mental health, just different things that affect us in our communities that a lot of times get brushed off. And as far as like the trans community and the trans umbrella community, just a lot of different things that we're facing, especially now, that's heavy on a lot of our mental health. It's getting real out there in society. So that's a little bit of what I do. I'm a pet mom of two spoiled brats, Sassy and Jessie, both of who are staring at me right now. So yeah, that's just a little bit of who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I had to, leave the space with Coco because otherwise she would be on top of my head.
Oh yeah, this one right now is like she's losing it. I'm surprised she's quiet. She is losing it.
Coco will be literally like on top of my head, like all up in here, just doing whatever she want to do. But we're gonna just dive into this conversation. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? So I want to point out the significant fact that there's a major difference between mental health and mental illness, right? Because oftentimes people talk about mental health and mental illness as though they're the same. So,
Mhm.
and when we're talking about preventative measures, it's very important to really, number one, kind of check yourself. Check yourself, see how you're feeling from day to day. If things are not right, evaluate that, assess those things, assess those needs. Um, and in my opinion, I think I said this years ago, and it has yet to happen. You know how, like, you go to the doctor every year to get your checkup, to get your blood drawn. You go get your eye exam every year. You go to the dentist. You do all of these things every year, right? So, do you think the mental health crisis will be different if we got a mental health checkup at least yearly?
Definitely. Um,
Should evaluations be covered in your insurance yearly, like it is when you go to the dentist, when you go get your eyes checked, you should be able to go and get a mental health checkup once a year, and it should be under your insurance.
Without a doubt, yes. luckily with my insurance, I'm under state insurance. They do cover yearly exams. But I remember when I was uninsured, I wanted one. Like I definitely needed it at the time. Um, and I think if we had it yearly for a lot of people, it'll help and it'll kind of, especially coming out of a pandemic too. A lot of people were on their P's and Q's prior to the pandemic, but after everything happened, you're in lockdown, you alone and isolated from the world, you're watching all this despair, finances getting messed up, and a lot of people lost their insurance too. Some people are getting it back, but a lot of people don't have that access to get it yearly. So a lot of people are having failing mental health. So if we did have regular checkups, we can kind of see what's going on mentally, assess that, and go further into treatment.
Yes, you know what? I totally agree. Do you think people would actually tap into that? If mental health was a thing, like a yearly evaluation, could that be a thing where people actually do it?
You got the major thing too, you got to have doctors that care, that press the issue. My
Okay.
doctor don't play that. Like Dr. Moore gets on my case. Like he will call me if I'm late, like a day late over the evaluation. Like, hey, yo, what's up? So he
Okay.
stays on my case. But it's a lot of doctors, especially in the Black community, think it ain't nothing wrong with us. Like, or they do think it's something wrong with us, and they kind of overanalyze what's wrong with us, and that's not even the issue. So if we had the correct doctors to look at our socioeconomic issues, our home life, everything, take that into effect and press the issue, and family and friends to press the issue too. Like, hey, I see, you look like you're struggling, or even if you don't see the person struggling, if you pull your love on the side, like, hey, go get checked out by your doctor. Just make sure you got everything in check. I think people would kind of get that little push to go, because if some people feel like no one cares, they won't press the issue. They won't go forward and trying to get help.
But Black women, though, let's dive into the mental health of the Black woman, right? Because we're supposed to be the strong being, the strong figure, right? And if we get too emotional, we're in our feelings. It's almost as if like no one really thinks about um, the Black woman's mental health, or she just erratic, she tripping.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. I've seen it myself trying to go get help, just even at the hospital, a Black woman to be having postpartum syndrome or just going through stuff, and doctors be like, oh, you're just moody, you're brutish, ain't nothing really wrong with you. Or, they just dismiss them half the time or don't even acknowledge it. Like, yeah, okay, you fine. Like, you got this together, you got that together, you're all right. So a lot of times Black women kind of feel overlooked and unheard. So that's leading to a lot of mental health issues with our women, sadly. Again, like postpartum care, there's
Right.
hardly any postpartum care right now. You do have certain organizations that help out with that. If you're lacking in that care, you also can get doulas, but not everyone has that access. But again, you do have organizations that'll help. But then again, if you don't have like people in your circle that'll help you, first of all, to check in on you to make sure, hey, did you eat today? Are you drinking water? Let me come over for a few hours just to watch the kids, chill out, make sure you got everything done at home, you just rest. And they just feel like everything is piling on. Like, and then they feel like they drowning. Then you do got some people who don't even have kids, where, whether it be deaths in the family, just everyday life, health issues, they also feel like they drowning. Go to the doctors be like, you're moody, brutish, whatever, get over it. Or ain't nothing really wrong with you. You don't have anxiety. It's just this, that, and the third. So yeah, that's not helping. our statistics at all with mental health whatsoever.
Okay, so I want to go back to something that you just recently said. You said just based on your own experience, trying to get help. Can you talk about that for a minute? Like, what was your experience? Like, did they just treat you like whatever, you was exaggerating, or did they um, make it more than what it is?
All right, so I started trying to get help around the time my grandma passed, like 2014, because I wasn't dealing with it. I was just like, make sure my mama was okay, the rest of my family cool, make sure everybody got what they need. And I was like, I didn't grieve. I just like, all right, I'm gonna eat that and just deal with it and go on. So I'm like, okay, but I can't keep doing that because I know how I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna shut down and it ain't gonna be good for nobody. So I tried to go out to several different doctors. Like I went to at the time, one of my main doctors, like, hey, I'm not feeling okay. Like I'm in the grieving process, but can you give me some referrals to therapists? You're all right. You're fine. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like I watched my grandmother die in front of me. So I'm definitely not okay. And they're like, oh, well, everybody sees death. Everybody goes through something. You'll be all right. So cross that off. I'm like, let me go to an actual mental health facility. I had a white lady therapist who like I got through 2 sentences and she busted out crying. And we didn't even get done with the whole session.
Wait.
Girl.
Wait, can
Okay.
you repeat that?
So I'm not gonna name the place.
So old girl really just started crying?
Oh, yeah. She was like, tell me what's going on. Like, she's younger than me. She was like, I don't know how, she was definitely younger than me. But she's like, tell me what's going on, sweetie. What's going on? What's happening? Open up. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, my grandma passed last month. She passed in front of me. Like, everything happened really fast. To be honest, I didn't have time to process. This girl busted out crying. Like, I mean, real Jesus tears, boo-hooing. And she's like, I don't know how you're like still standing. How are you still strong right now? Like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm here. Like, I was hoping you would help me with that, Jenna. Like,
I'm sorry, that's not funny, but
for real. And she's like, how are you like not crying? I'm like, this might be shock. Like, I don't know. That's why I'm here to process, because I don't know how to process. I don't know. And she's like, it's okay, just let it out. I'm like, okay, we can reschedule another appointment. I never went back. And I didn't get help until like the end of that year. And I had like a whole mental breakdown at work. Like, a lady came into my job that looked just like my grandma, sounded just like my grandma, and I like lost it. Like, my mama worked at the same job as me. So I'm like in the closet crying, like, oh my God. She's like, girl, what? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, why am I losing it? And she's like, you're grieving. It finally hit. Go home. Just take a breather. And I'm like, all right. So that's when I was like, let me go ahead and try to get a hold on this. Found a good doctor, my grandma's doctor, went to him, and he was like, why didn't you just come to me? Like, you definitely had depression, without a doubt. Okay. Are you comfortable with medication? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you got anxiety. Are you comfortable with medication? I'm like, yeah. He was like, there you go. See how easy that was? I'm like, okay. So, and again, from then on, if anything else happens, this man will get on me, like on my case. Cause like I got chronic pain. He'll call me like, where's your head at? Like, all right, you good? You straight? You need to come in? I'm like, oh, I'm good. So finally, and I just got into therapy full time now, thank God. So I found a Black intersectional therapist, and I'm so happy. This is like the first time I found a therapist. Is like, I don't have to like force myself to talk to her. It's just like talking to a friend.
Okay. So what is the difference? between this therapist and other therapists?
We have a lot in common, like as far as our intersections. Like we're both queer. Um, we use the same pronouns. She understands the type of work that I do, and she also understands how to deal with trauma, like head on. And so she knows how to help me unpack with that. Because other therapists I had be like, "Oh, you're like giggling. You can't giggle through this. Like, why are you giggling?" I'm like, that's my coping process. Like I can't help it. That I've always been like that. When stuff happens, I do deal with it, but I giggle. I can't help it. It's like a reaction. And instead of her making me feel bad about that, she embraces it. Like, girl, we be keying, okay? Like over stuff that we should not be keying about, but she gets it. Like, and so it's just like it doesn't feel like a chore having to talk to her. Um,
Okay.
and I don't feel like, okay, sis about to put me on a grippy stock vacation. Like if I open up to like she does have a liability in case I like do, get off on the deep end. But
Mhm.
she's like, I know where your mental state is. Like, be honest with me. I can tell if you get into that point, so just let me
Okay.
know. So yeah, it's just comfort. Like my comfort level is completely different with her, and I love it. I love that girl. I do.
And you know what? Representation matters. I say that um so much, like it's this trend that's going around on TikTok, like, more Black women should go into medicine, go into psychiatry, law,
Mhm.
those area where we are not really represented. So I do want to kind of get into, well, transition um, into the LGBTQ community, and where is the mental health status around your community? Um, because you said like it's a lot of people that don't get it, a lot of people that don't understand. So that alone, I would imagine, creates a lot of anxiety. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Okay, for I can't really speak for Black trans women, but I can only speak on like what I know. As far as Black trans women, like the ones that I'm surrounded by, and like even ones that I like looked at through documentaries and just different social media accounts and stuff, they're scared as hell because like the trans community as a whole is being hunted down, but Black trans women specifically. Because it's like not only are you getting it from the government, you can't even walk out your front door without getting killed by one of your neighbors or somebody trying to holler at you and you get clocked. You feel me? So
Wait, you're talking about getting killed,
yes, yes.
like
There, yeah,
killed.
killed. There was I can't even count how many Black trans women was killed last month alone. I believe it was 3 to 4, but it's been like 8 trans people as a whole this year, if not more. It's probably more
Okay,
because
for just for clarification, for the people that's watching and not familiar with these terms, what is a trans woman?
trans women are people that were born as a male originally, and then they never really identified as male, like never in their body, their spirits or soul or anything. Like they're a woman. So um you don't necessarily have to transition medically for your transition or your identity to be valid. Just knowing that who you truly are, that's what makes you who you are. A lot of trans women can't really afford, not a lot, but some trans women can't really afford the surgeries. So, they put on their hair and their makeup, and, some don't, but some to do. And yeah, that's that. Trans men, those are men that originally were women and transition over to being men. Um, there are surgeries that could be involved, which for some people it's like a huge weight off your shoulders. You can get the gender reassignment surgery, facial feminization surgery where they soften your features. just Adam's apple shavings, just different things. You could also go on HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. And then you can go on testosterone, which testosterone. So yeah, it just depends on what that person wants to do in their walk with their identity. Not every trans or trans umbrellas person's walk is the same. Everyone is just different. And when I say trans umbrella, I mean like non-binary, different spirit, which are indigenous non-binary people. They feel either male or female, neither male or female, things like that. So it's like different versions of transness. So yeah, again, not everyone's walk is linear. So when you do see a trans person, we can't like lump them all together. Just like my walk of being non-binary. Mainly I am most of the time femme presenting. So people like look at me and be like, that's a girl. But I'm not. So, but then I have some non-binary friends where you can't really tell if they're male or female. It's just different for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So how is your mental health affected? Or just the community overall?
Well, right now, a lot of trans and LGBTQ people's mental health it's shaky. Because I know we're safe here in Michigan, but in other states like Texas, Florida, there are bans against trans people. You can't go to certain bathrooms. Really, it's certain states you can't even get different hormone replacement therapies, your testosterone therapies. If you have kids that want to transition, that you're getting your kids taken from you. They're calling it child abuse. Yeah, so it's a lot of younger trans people that seeing this and like they feel like, damn, like we really didn't make no progress. So you have a lot of suicidal ideations, that's up. Suicide attempts, that's up. There are a nice amount of trans people who have committed suicide due to all of these laws because they just feel like I can't exist. And then you again going back, you have that fear of every time you walk out your door, damn, I could die. And then that adds on different, suicidal tendencies and fear, anxiety. So it's scary right now, especially for the trans community, because it's like, damn, we can't even like be ourselves. Like the law is trying to block us from existing. What the hell? So yeah, it's scary right now.
So what about like mental health services? Is there any mental health services, like, or specialties, I should say, for the LGBTQ community?
There are different organizations that you could go to. Down south is kind of like becoming like an underground railroad thing, basically, where whatever services that you need, whether it's mental health, physical health, they're doing everything underground. And they're like taking people to different states just to get help.
Really?
Yeah. It's like that now. It's like that. So here in Michigan, you do have mental health services like the Trevor Project, Affirmations, different places like that. Like, Ruth Ellis, a few other places that can help you with mental health services. But trying to do it out of state, I would definitely say try to get into different trans social circles. If you know, like trans activists that are intersectional, just do your research thoroughly. 9 times out of 10, they know the different places that can help you for mental health. If you're down south, definitely be careful. But there are places that are willing to help you out, especially right now. And there are some places that'll help you pro bono too. Just depends on who it is, though.
Like, is that just all mental health services?
Down south mental health, you can get help.
Mhm.
Physical, as far as like transitioning help, it's a little shaky. Um, Tad bit shaky.
Now, why is it that the transitional help, like the surgeries, why do you think that's so difficult?
Because right now there are tons of laws that are being put in place by
Uh-oh, yeah, I think we lost her. So, we are going to talk about laws now as it pertains to the LGBTQ community and what it really means. I think I am going to call her. For some reason, we just blanked out, and I don't know what happened. So we just blanked out. Okay. All right, y'all. We are still live. Diamond, if you can hear me, just log back in and I'll let you back in. So we are live, y'all. If you are just tapping in, this is Ivy Nicole. This is She Evolves. So I am live every Friday. I am live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I always want to say Instagram, y'all, because I really, really want to be live on Instagram. But for some reason, I am not. Diamond, can you hear me?
yeah.
All right, try to log back in.
All right.
All right, so y'all, we are like really just getting into this conversation because I want to know how the laws are really affecting the LGBTQ community. All right, so she's back, y'all.
Hi,
But we are
sorry.
talking. All right, so again, as the laws are affecting the LGBTQ community, is essentially what it sounds like is affecting the mental health.
Yeah, it's scary. You got, again, like I stated earlier, you have states like Texas, Florida,
Mhm.
where they have, and I believe Tennessee too, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and Ohio. Those are like the places with the most strictest laws.
Mhm.
Where it's like the GOP does not the Republican convention that they had recently. There were speakers saying that they have to eradicate transgenderism. Like the GOP is literally calling for a genocide against trans people. So with all of these laws going in place, they're basically making it like a legal Holocaust dang near, where you can't get help, you can't get mental health, you can't, well, yeah, you can't have mental health help, you can't have physical health help, your children can't be trans, you can't be trans in public in some places. Um, yeah, it's scary. It's really scary. And there are places where like you can go to jail for being trans. Yeah.
No.
So yeah,
Mm,
it's oh, and
no.
parents can go to jail too for having trans babies in certain states. This is where we are.
Okay, what do you mean having trans babies? How?
Like if your kid comes out as trans and you're like a fully supportive parent, where like if you
But
let your
how would you
kid
know if your
dress
kid
the way
comes
that
out trans? I don't get it.
well, the way the GOP puts it is like, how some kids introduce themselves in school. You have some kids that introduce themselves as who they truly are. Teachers can report that. And they can also report the parents as being neglectful and abusive, and they can get in trouble by that. Neighbors can report you, family can report you, anything. Like if they see your kid like not matching up to how your kid is supposed to look, yeah, yeah, they can take your baby and you can go to jail. It's like that. And they think they're using the excuse of it's child abuse as though they're thinking it's like, oh, you're gonna force your kid to get gender reassignment surgery. There's very little cases of kids like under the age of 18 getting gender reassignment surgery. Very little cases. So it's like, why are you just pulling that like out your butt to try to like create a bias that's doesn't need to be created? Like, so they're just creating all of these like false narratives. They're doing fear mongering. Like, okay, if they're also going back to like letting trans people use the bathrooms. Oh, if you let this trans person come into the women's bathroom, they're gonna molest your children, or like, so it's like that. There's even trans teachers that have lost their jobs where they're like, you're not fit to teach kids. Yeah. Yep. And now you can't even like, there are certain books, and even in Dearborn, like there's books that you can't even read to kids anymore about transness. Like that's not allowed in libraries or anything. So kids have to, if they get the idea, like, okay, I want to know more, they gotta look it up on the internet, and that's if their parents even let them. So it's very scary at the moment, but yeah, it's real.
So how do a child know if they don't identify as the sex that they were born as?
Well, depending on the age of the kid, I've seen it to where they could be like 5, 3, like babies, and they'll just be like, I don't feel like a boy, or I don't feel like a girl, like I feel like this. And they'll express it to the parent, and like they'll even dress different, talk different. And then you notice if you suppress those kids, like there's statistics out where they have like a higher rate of suicide and a higher rate of depression, because this is like who they truly are. Like they notice in the fiber of their being. Like they look in the mirror every day and they're like, this isn't who I am. Then you get gender dysphoria, which is basically you don't see yourself as who you really are. Like you got a false sense of confidence basically in yourself. So that adds on to the suicidal ideation. So kids know, they know, it took me, even I always knew when I was little, like I wasn't a girl. I didn't know it was a name for it until I was like late teens, pretty much late teens, early 20s. I was like 6 and I was like, okay, I like girls. I'm just gonna fake like I like boys, but I like girls. And I'm like, I don't feel like a girl. Like I'll put on, I'll play in makeup, but like I don't feel like a girl. Like I just didn't feel like a girl or didn't feel like a boy. Like something, in between.
Like something was just off. And you said you was about how old? How old were you when
6?
You said about 6 years old?
About 6. Yeah.
Okay. So when you was about 6
So
years
I start
old,
masking.
What is that?
Masking is when you're like putting on a different face just for the public, or you're fronting as something else that you're not. So I'm like, okay, what do girls my age like? I'm like, all right, so they like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and B2K, and like Marcus Houston. All right, I'm gonna like that too. So I like their music, but I'm like, thank you. So I'm like, I like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
They not cute.
So okay, let's be real.
But I like boys.
So
they not cute. They don't count.
That wasn't hitting on nothing at all. They're kind of funny looking when you look back. But it's like, as far as like my gender, I did not know. I was just like, I looked at Grace Jones for one, And I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. That's what I want to be like. And I'm like, it's like she's like a dude and like a girl mixed in together, and just like poised. I'm gonna be that badass when I grow up. And I did not know what that was called. I just was like, okay, that's just Grace Jones. And
Mhm.
once I started doing more education on the queer community, I'm like, oh, there's a name for this. Oh my God. So so I started like hanging out with more non-binary people, just learning from them. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel so alone. Like I for real felt like, I'm not gonna hold you up. I felt like I was crazy for the majority of my life. Cause I'm like, what's wrong with me where like I have to act like I'm a girl? Like I shouldn't have to do this. Like I'm tired having to study all of this all the time and try to emulate the way they talk, emulate the way they do their makeup, emulate this. Like it's exhausting. And then when I realized, like, damn, I really ain't got to do that. Okay, that's cool. So that came around like 20ish. And so I
Okay.
still was like, kind of still in denial about it. And I'm like, no, I'm still gonna try to act like a girl because I wasn't ready to come out to my family. And then eventually I was like, all right, whatever. I am who I am, bruh. I'm non-binary. It is what it is. All right. Hey, take me as I am, I guess. So, so I got
Mhm.
tired of having to put on that mask. I'm like, it's exhausting. Like, Jesus. So I'm like, I'm tired of having to cover this up. And like all my friends knew anyway. They was like, be for real. Like, come, you don't even like skirts like that, bro. Like, why are you wearing that? So so I was like, fine, man. I just start living unapologetically after a while. And I'm like, I did notice like a boost in my mental health afterwards. I did have two suicide attempts when I was younger. One when I was a teen, one in my mid 20s. And so after those, that's when it really hit. Like, damn, okay, life too short. Like I'm literally killing myself trying to make people happy. Like this ain't it. I'm just about to be me for real. If anybody don't like it, oh well. So that's what happened, and here I am now, just a little ball of gayness.
They're a ball of gators, though.
Yeah.
So at what point, so when you came out to your family, how was that? Were you scared? Was you just
Oh,
like,
I was
forget
scared
it?
as
It is what it is, and I don't even care.
it was a mix of forget it and I was scared because my mama a minister. Okay, like
Okay.
minister, perfect perch, like straight gate
Okay.
minister. So I'm like,
Right there,
oh
real
crap.
deal.
So I'm like, woo. Okay. So I'm like, I don't even know if I want to like come out to this lady. She gonna kill me, Jesus. She gonna slay me in the spirit. I'm not ready. So so she
That's
I'm
a
not gonna
lot of
hold you up.
friends.
She for real. Like she really wasn't the happiest about it. But then she
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, you my kid. I don't care, do you? Just don't be out here acting crazy. I don't care. I'm like, oh, all right, that was easy. Like I was tripping for nothing. My grandma, she found out I was gay shortly before she passed. So about the non-binary stuff, I know Nancy would have lost her shit. Okay, like sis would have been done. Like she was already losing it about the lesbianism. Like so, but everyone else in the family was like, we know. We was waiting on you to go ahead and say it, baby. We've been new. All right, just welcome to the family. So it was kind of easy but hard at the same point. Just trying to get it out was the hardest though. Cause I'm like, I don't know how to say it without like making my arrangements with OH pie first. Like just cause I'm like, my mom gonna kill me. So, but
Right.
like I'm like, she ain't even act nearly as intense as I thought it
Okay.
was gonna be.
So now there's, when we're talking about just like the LGBTQ community, right? And I would imagine and feel free to just like stop me when I'm wrong or whatever. But is it difficult just trying to explain like your gender versus your sexuality, because they're different? And the
Mhm.
way that the LGBTQ community is set up, your gender is your gender, is what you identify as, and your sex is the sexuality is what you're attracted to.
Mhm.
So there's a very distinct difference. So oftentimes it's always the misconception that if you identify as the opposite sex, then you're gay.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. Is
Hmm.
that right or
Yeah.
wrong?
In the Black community, I've seen it where like when trans girls, like my friends alone, like with
Hmm.
their parents and grandparents, when they was like little dressing up like in dresses and stuff. Oh, that boy a little fruity. And like they're like, no, like I'm a girl. They're like, no, you're gay. And they're like, I don't even like boys. Like I like girls. Like I'm attracted to girls. I'm a girl. That don't even make sense. You just gay. So they're like, bruh. So trying for most of my friends trying to explain that it's crazy. I have had trans male friends come out to family where they're like, but like why even say that you're a man? Like you're just a stud. Y'all like trying to be men anyway. And they're like, it's two different things. Like you can have masculine traits and not be a man. You can
Hmm.
be a man and not have masculine traits. So it's different for everybody. So I've noticed with like different communities, it is a little bit harder to explain depending on where you come from. Uh,
Hmm.
I will say for like even white people, mainly religious and like uh, conservative type households, it's the same reaction. Like the same reaction. Like, oh, you're not a girl, you're just gay. Like, no, like I'm not gay. Like So it's a lot of people can explain it to their people. Some people do get to have the choice of after they explain it and their parents like, all right, cool. All right. So like let's get dinner afterwards. And so
Right.
then
But
you
that's
got
not
some
always
people
the
that
case.
don't. Oh no, you got a lot to leave home at like 13, 14, 15, just because their parents are like, oh, you're just gay, get out. And that's not even it. Like the parents never even took time out to like hear the kids and fully get to know who they kid are. So
Okay.
it's a definite difference. And it's difficult trying to discuss those differences too a lot of times.
Okay. So, why do you think it's just so difficult for Black women especially?
Um, like black trans women.
Women in general.
Oh, black women in general, just going back to slavery. Like we never even had a fair chance. Like just looking at us like, okay, you're only good for cooking, cleaning, and making babies. And then
Mhm.
like you show any type of fault, anything that shows that you were human, even back then. Like even having health issues like Henrietta Lacks, they dehumanized her. Never even gave her credit for real until recently for her, you know, involuntary help with science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then even with like postpartum care, there was just a girl that just died in childbirth. She was trying to explain to the doctor like I don't feel right, and the doctor ignored her. It's just hard because of like biases. There were always these strong people that you know okay, you look strong. You haven't like asked for help. So why are you asking for help now? Like, like, oh, well, your grandma stayed in this type of situation. Why didn't you stay in this situation? Like, so it's always just like, always just, it's just people not listening, like not listening to our concerns, not listening to our health, not taking our well being into account, just like
Mhm.
dehumanizing us, not really seeing us as an individual. It's always like lumping us in as a whole.
So you talked about the Black woman, you talked about the LGBT community. So what about the Black queer woman?
That's definitely
She's just like, they just don't give a shit.
at all. It's like, and I feel bad for like the bi women too, black bi women, because they, oh my God, they get it.
Mhm.
It's just like from the lesbians, oh, you not gay for real, you just playing. And then from dudes, oh, you just confused, or oh, you're good for the couples thing, if you know what I mean. And so like they don't take their sexuality as real and as their identity. They just think it's a cute little hobby. And they don't really see them like, okay, this is a part of you. Like maybe I should acknowledge that. No. They're like, okay, you're experimenting, get over it. If you're a lesbian, they again saying that you a man, like you're bull dagger, like all this crazy stuff. Then if you show emotion, oh, but I thought you wanted to be a man, like you need to G up, man up, like where your strength at? Even
Mhm.
like even when your friends trying to move and you a lesbian, don't matter if you a butch or not, they gonna call you for help. Like, bro, do you see this? Like, I can't help you. Like I no, like I might act like a dude, but I'm not a dude. So like, so it's crazy. Like, and then you have some that are like polyamorous. The polyamorous black woman. Oh my God, my heart go out to them because
Okay, now, check this out, right?
Mhm.
Based on stats, right? We're going to talk about statistics.
Mhm.
Say that, the Black lesbian woman is pretty much treated like shit, right? And they're less respected, right? But it's almost as like, a man approaches a woman and she says, you know, I don't like men, I like girls. And they be like, well, shit, my girl got a girlfriend, right? They get into all of that kinky fetish. Like, no.
Exactly.
Because it's almost the idea of like society want to see two women together because they're sexualized. Women are so sexualized that it's ridiculous. So if you are a lesbian woman and it's two women together, they want to see them in action
Yeah.
opposed to men.
Hmm. I've seen it firsthand. And then it's like when you try to remind dudes, like you try to corral them back in, like homeboy, like I'm not attracted to men. Like please understand. That's
Mhm.
when it gets kind of scary. Like I had a situation where I was just down the street at the store. Dude was like, now dude know me since I was like a baby, been over here my whole life. He's just like, oh, so what's up? Like, what you trying to do? I'm like, you are old enough to be my father, sir. He's just like, let me get your number. I'm like, no, I'm gay.
Mm-mm.
Oh, you sure about that? Like, yeah, pretty sure. Well, I got something that could fix that. And then it like moves over into like dismissing that you're not attracted to men, to possibly making rapist type statements. And it's just weird. And a lot of lesbians go through that shit too. And then going back to your point about the fetishization, like, oh my God, it's terrible. Like every dude is down with polyamory when it's down for two women. But as soon
Mhm.
as a woman like Jada Pinkett is open with being polyamorous with anything other than a woman, it's an issue. Like it's stupid. Like, and like you see the hell this girl getting. I'm like, y'all are not married to her. Like, why are y'all taking her? Like, what she does to such heart? Like, isn't that deep? So it's like as soon as you start smashing mainly cishet dudes, um, cool. As soon as you start,
Mhm.
as soon as
Thank
you
you for your
start,
comment.
you're so nice, thank you. As soon as you start smashing cishet dudes' expectations of what a queer woman is supposed to be, they mad. They want to fight. Like that's when they want to get violent and start disrespecting you. And that's when the misogynoir starts popping off, which is like disrespect towards black women. Oh yeah, okay, you feel me. You feel me. Well, thank you for saying something. That's dope. And I'm sorry you do relate to a lot of it. Oh, yeah. But yeah, so it's sad. Like I have tried to educate a lot of brothers. It was a lot that really didn't know. Like they don't be around people like me. That's like educated on this type of stuff. Like they hang out with them. Uh, what what's that dude that just died? Name that was like a podcaster, and all he did was just crap on Kevin Samuels. They only
Oh
hang
God,
out with like
Kevin
them.
Samuels. Oh God. Oh God.
Okay. Like they
Okay.
hang out with them Kevin Samuels type dudes. And like all they do is just listen to podcast bros all day. And they don't hang out with people like me. They don't take time out to like do research or hear people like me and our experiences. I've had some dudes that's like, damn, I never knew that. Like, and then they go into it with a new mindset and then they completely change their trajectory of how they see women and queer women
Okay.
and like the queer community. I had some dudes be like, I don't care. You know, if I see one, I'm gonna kill one. Or, oh, if I see a lesbian and she don't like me, I know what I could do to change that if she want it or not. And I'm like, that's rape. Like, you can go to jail for that. You do know that that's not attractive. A girl isn't gonna be like, oh, give me your name. No, like that's rape. Like you probably gonna get tased in the balls for that. Like really back in. So, like, so it just depends. Like I'm down for educating people. That's what I do anyway. But when it comes, you have to be receptive to it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
If your boy's trying to have a conversation about disrespecting people and you know deep down in your spirit that that's wrong, it's nothing wrong with shutting it down. If they gonna tease you for that, that's people that you'll need to be hanging around anyway. Like, are you hanging out with people that's like that? You feel me? So I'm off my soapbox.
We did have some comments.
Okay.
Someone is watching from YouTube. Husk Eater, I want to say. Thank you for tapping in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and check out more of my content. Make sure you share with your friends. Share. Subscribe, all of that good stuff. Check out D. Drop your information.
Okay. Want me to drop it in the chat?
If you can, I don't know if it'll show up because I think we tried to do it before. The last time, my last guest tried to do that, he sent me a private message and I didn't need that.
Oh yeah, okay. So now I'm seeing. Oh,
Okay, yeah.
all right.
So just say it.
I was like,
Okay.
all right. On Facebook, I am Diamond DIAMOND Dore DORE Woods WOODS. On Instagram, I'm Safe Camp D SAFECAMPDEE. I believe on Twitter, I'm the same as the Instagram, Safe Camp D. So yeah, I just mainly do the same ramblings as I'm doing today. There's some shenanigans, sometimes it's serious talks, but yeah.
Right. The comments are coming in a little late, unfortunately. So, Husk Eater, I am here every Friday at 6 o'clock. I stream here, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you just go to sheevolvesllc.com, you'll be able to find all of the information so you can follow me on different streams. So every week I have a different guest, and it's typically a different subject matter, but it is based on mostly mental health and women empowerment. I hope that helps.
All right. I'm putting my socials in the header. I just figured out how to do that. Um,
Awesome. Thank you. Love to be a guest eventually. Yes, hit me
you
up.
gotta
Hit
eat
me
something.
up at Nikki Nikki at She Evolves LLC.com.
Let
I'm
me
gonna
make
see if
sure.
I can actually go on YouTube and put that in the chat.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if I can because you're following me on YouTube. So let's see if I can do it. If not, I'll come back once we get off air and
Okay.
and make sure. Diamond, would you able to put your information in?
Yep. Do you see it on the header? Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oop, I
Okay.
got that Twitter wrong.
Okay.
I always get my Twitter and Instagram mixed up. But yeah, this conversation is awesome. I think we need some more of this.
Yes,
'Cause-
definitely. So next week, y'all. So unfortunately, we are out of time, y'all. Thank you for tapping in. For those who did, you could always catch the replay because I never take anything down because I said what I said and I'm not taking it back.
Period.
I said what I said. It is what it is. So y'all make sure that y'all keep following me, tap in, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Y'all already know how Second Friday get down. Second Friday is the He Evolve segment. So every second Friday, I will have a special male guest on that's doing awesome things in the community and everywhere. So make sure y'all tap in next week. I got a real fun one. I don't even know how I booked this one, but y'all just wait because I can't wait. So again, Dee, thank you so much for being a part of my show, for being a part of my broadcast. It is always a pleasure. Nikki, can I get your info one more time so I can message you? I couldn't write it down. That's my bad. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat like right now. Or I'll do it like as soon as we get off air, so I don't be like on here tripping. But I promise. So don't go anywhere. Um, stay plugged in, and I will make sure that I comment to you as soon as we get off. I promise, Scout's Honor. So again, y'all, thank you. It's been a wonderful Friday, and please forgive me, y'all, because I was not on last week. It was final week
Oh,
and it kicked my ass, but this semester's over with and it's on to the next one. So yeah, so FYI, I did ace the gender, sexuality, and women's studies course. So
yay! Congrats!
thank you. It was
I'll
hard
be
because
there
I know
soon.
how to. But it is on to the next chapter of life. So again, y'all, thanks for tapping in. I am tired. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm about to go night night soon, and I will see y'all next week.
Bye.